So, have you ever caught yourself wondering, what does the absolute perfect daily routine actually look like? I mean, we're all kind of on this endless hunt for that holy grail schedule, right? The one that cranks up our productivity, keeps us in great physical shape, but somehow still leaves time for the stuff we actually enjoy doing. Well, welcome to today's Explainer. We are going to be doing a complete overview of a wildly structured, meticulously mapped out routine designed by a guy named Muhammad Al-Addis. And to make things even more interesting, we're pairing it with a fascinating, category-by-category analysis of this exact schedule done by a Microsoft Copilot AI from 2026. Seriously, get ready, because this overview is going to challenge literally everything you think you know about work, resting, and personal growth.
All right, let's do a quick run-through of our agenda. We are going to start with the ultimate lifestyle blueprint, walk through a day in the life, and then jump into a battle of the schedules. After that, we'll look at the math of true rest, and we'll wrap it all up with why discipline equals sustainability. Let's get right into it.
Starting off with Section 1, the ultimate lifestyle blueprint, where structure meets freedom.
Which brings us right into Section 2, a day in the life, looking at the weekday grind.
Okay, so to truly understand this schedule, you have to grasp its core philosophy. It operates on a super strict 5-day working routine running from Sunday to Thursday. And the whole thing functions on this one premise: absolute structure during the week earns you absolute freedom on the weekend. The weekday timeline is like a well-oiled machine. You're up bright and early at 5 a.m. for breakfast, hydration, and a strict dedicated hour for prayer. By 6 a.m., you transition into an hour specifically reserved to learn and teach, covering Quranic teaching, Bible study, and prophetic study. Following some morning sports or swimming, the core workday kicks off at 8:30 a.m. with a massive 4-hour block of deep work, fueled entirely by sugar-free coffee. Then you get a precise 1-hour lunch break at 1 p.m., followed by a second 3-hour deep work block at 2 p.m. After work, it doesn't stop. You've got martial arts, an evening course on civilization study, and some free time before a rigid 10 p.m. bedtime to guarantee exactly 7 hours of sleep. It is literally just powerhouse block after powerhouse block.
But here is where it gets really fun. This isn't just some robotic timeline. There is so much personality baked into these rules. Muhammad has these unapologetic, totally fixed personal boundaries. For instance, he fiercely defends his natural juice intake. He notes that you should literally never argue with him about it because it's natural and gives you the vitamins you need. He also outlines this incredibly specific allowance of exactly 240 milliliters of cola at dinner. Why? Well, he says he might eat fast food, and he calculated that this specific small amount won't mess with his bone density. It just goes to show that having a highly disciplined schedule doesn't mean you have to give up your quirky, non-negotiable personal joys.
Let's move into Section 3, Battle of the Schedules, System versus Standard.
This is like a heavyweight matchup. Muhammad actually asked an AI to pit his rigid schedule directly against what society considers a general ideal schedule. And the AI's breakdown of spiritual and physical health is wild. Look at Muhammad's routine: deep daily engagement with the Quran, the Bible, prophetic teachings, plus daily ball games, swimming, and martial arts. The AI notes this builds incredible moral, emotional, and spiritual stability. Now compare that to the general ideal schedule, which is essentially just a light 10-minute meditation and maybe a 30-minute walk a few days a week. The AI overwhelmingly declares Muhammad's schedule the absolute winner for generating better metabolism, far better mental health, and serious physical discipline.
What about productivity and learning? Well, on one side, Muhammad's strict schedule uses massive 4-hour and 3-hour deep work blocks with clear boundaries, plus dedicated morning and evening time for intellectual growth and civilization study. On the other side, the general schedule involves about 6 to 8 hours of mixed productivity. You know the type: low structure, constant distractions, occasional reading, and zero teaching. Once again, the strict schedule completely crushes it by producing higher quality output and building much stronger long-term mental endurance.
Now, you might think a schedule this strict would ruin your social life, right? Actually, scratch that. It's the exact opposite. Enforcing strict routines guarantees dedicated emotional connection. Because Muhammad is so relentlessly disciplined during the day, he unlocks a guaranteed 3.5 hours of totally free social time every single night. Plus, his entire Friday is 100% reserved for family, friends, art, games, and shows. The general schedule just relies on random, leftover social time and completely lacks a structured family day. The AI rightly concludes that the highly structured approach builds much deeper relationships and superior emotional stability.
So, summarizing this AI showdown, the conclusion is honestly pretty blunt. The AI states that the general ideal schedule really only wins if you're looking for an easy, frictionless life. It's built for people who want low effort, fewer responsibilities, way less structure, and who ultimately prioritize comfort over growth. If your goal is actual human development and excellence, the highly structured schedule wins by a landslide.
All right, heading into Section 4, the math of true rest and preventing burnout.
Okay, with all this intense, military-level discipline, you're probably thinking, this guy is definitely going to burn out. But the AI calculated something that will blow your mind. This highly regimented schedule provides exactly 50.5 hours of total rest every single week. That is a massive amount of downtime.
Let's actually do the math here to see where those 50.5 hours come from. During the 5 workdays, you get a 1-hour morning calm, a 1-hour work break, and 3.5 hours of evening free time. That's 5.5 hours a day, which totals 27.5 hours for the week. Then, Friday is this massive reset block that provides 14 solid hours of rest. Add in a second recovery period on Saturday night for another 9 hours, and boom, you hit 50.5 hours of true guilt-free rest.
The secret sauce here is the weekend recovery structure. This schedule intentionally engineers total mental and emotional resets every single weekend. Friday is your full recovery day. No studying, no heavy training. It is purely family, friends, and late nights. Then Saturday acts as this perfect secondary recovery day for light chores like laundry, maybe working on a side business, and enjoying absolute freedom at night. It balances out the intense weekday grind flawlessly.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 5, Discipline equals Sustainability, the final verdict.
Wrapping up our overview, the AI delivers its ultimate thesis on why this schedule works so incredibly well. It boils down to a very simple equation. Enjoyment plus discipline equals sustainability. Most standard schedules fail because they totally lack structure, but this routine succeeds because it perfectly marries rigid, non-negotiable discipline with highly protected, controlled enjoyment, like the natural juice, the daily cola allowance, and those completely untethered weekends. It gives you the productivity you need, but balances it perfectly with fun, faith, and family. It's the whole package.
So I want to leave you with this final kind of provocative question to chew on. Does your own schedule prioritize comfort, or does it prioritize growth? Because after seeing how a beautifully rigid system can actually unlock 50 hours of free time and create much deeper social connections, it just might be time for us all to rethink how we structure our days. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I really hope it sparks some game-changing ideas for your own daily routine.